this here, I think. I think that'll work. Oh, who can do stuff? I can. Yay. Yay. All right. We're good, I think. Wix and GDDY. Both of these look great. Both of these look amazing. GDDY and Wix, they both look great. They're both setting up again. I think it was after that SPSC. What was that? Squarespace SQSP, something like that. Isn't that the one that's getting bought? And we think it's going to get bought for more. Speaking of names that are going to get bought, let's get to it. Harris has come out and said, no deal for Japan here. We're not going to do that. Look, everybody is going to say the same exact thing. No deal, no deal, no deal, but there's going to be a deal. Or Japan would have walked away from by now. What they're doing is they're just waiting for after the election. Then they're going to have some department okay it, and then they're going to allow it to go through. It's really that simple. That's what they're going to do. I mean, it's very clear what they're going to do here. They're going to use the negotiating tactic, and that's going to be the end of it. So, but yeah, that's what they're going to do here. I mean, it's very clear what's going to happen. Or Japan would have just walked away by now. Nippon Steel would have just walked away. But sure, they're going to get the deal done, and then we'll go from there. But it is what it is. And you're about, you're at that level too where there's literally 12 points at this point. So I think a lot of people are interested in playing this at that level. I think it's worth talking about. I think it's worth noting. Let me get rid of this, and we'll get rid of the heat map. I don't think we'll have time for that, and we'll go from there. But I do think that there's definitely something to this, and it's certainly something that I would be watch that today. Definitely something I'd be watching today for sure. I think there's a couple things you should probably go over to start. Let's go here. Let's get into it. So the first thing I noticed was this. Here is a Bitcoin, and I would just point this out. See this right here? You don't seem to be able to break that level, and you're just really basing them. They're walking you down and walking you down, but they're not really falling apart. So that's the first thing I would say. Second, let's go through the NASDAQ, and we'll start there. We'll get to it. But I don't really like this. So show you. Pardon me. Good Lord. Slept like crap last night. But you see you flipped over. Hammer. And I think that's important, but also, let's get to this. I don't know why that's there. Shouldn't be there. See if I can get rid of this real quick. It's thrown off my screen. Yep. And it just doesn't want to do that anymore, right? Just wants to stay up. I'm not really sure why. Let's try it one more time. Seems to have a mind of its own now. There's a taskbar. You can't see it on the bottom, but it's throwing off my screen a little bit. And it's usually... Yeah. And for whatever reason, it just won't go away anymore. All right. I'll have to figure that out later. So one of the things that I don't like how that's sitting now. There are a couple other things where you are holding above that peak. And every time you get near that peak, you're stopping. Also, you're not breaking down here at all from that low, which is good. So structurally you are holding. Now, if you go and take a look at the SPY, It looks a lot better. Look at the diamonds. Look how much better the diamonds look. So I think that you have that going for you, which is nice. Now, if we get rid of this and we just drop this into a 1 minute, and then we go from there, then we clean all this off. And we'll go to bear chart, and then you're not really going anywhere, are you? I mean, you're really not going anywhere, like at all. So the chances of getting there today, you're going to need an event, but I'll leave it there. But you're not really doing anything, and you haven't really been for some time. So this is really the level you want to watch. You're more towards that supportish kind of level down here, which is right around where that 55 is. So you kind of want to watch that and see how that plays out. But I don't know if there's much you have to do there. I don't know that there's much here to really get involved with. So I do think that's an issue. Now, if we go take a look at the SPY, same thing. You got a little more of a trajectory, but not really. And again, you go back to, I think we're going back to 27th, 28th. I'll just leave it all in, the pre and the post. And then you're just like, okay, well, you rallied. But did we really go anywhere? Did we really do anything? Not really. I mean, we really haven't done anything. It's just been, pure bonk, bonk, bonk. Like, you're not going anywhere. So I'm not really sure that, what's going to be that impetus. I'm not sure you're going to get one, anytime soon. I think it's going to be individual names that are going to, kind of rule the roost here. That's kind of how I say it. I think that that's more important for us to get than anything else. I don't know why you'd think it'd be different. I don't know what the catalyst is going to be. Non-farm payrolls. I mean, they're cutting rates. They're definitely cutting rates. So, I don't know. I don't know what your real crux is going to be. Like, if you come here and take a look at that, right? You fell off a cliff and then you bounce back to even higher than where you were. So you're already overshot. Once again, if we just map this area out, which I'm sure everybody else is already doing, but you're seeing the same thing over and over and over again. I mean, every single time you get up here, it's Groundhog Day. Like, it's like every time. I mean, and it's the same thing, some specific time when no one else has access to the market, right? Or very few people have access. But it's over and over again. This is when Asia has access to the market. And you just see it, that level. For whatever reason, whenever you get up there, and you would start looking at that going, well, do you have a head and shoulders? Do you have like an inverted head and shoulders? I guess you could make the argument that you do. I guess you could make that argument to some extent and just say, okay, well, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. I guess that's there. There's a lot going on here, really, isn't there? Where, okay, do you have a bear flag that's being developed? Did you break this? Did you break that, short-term trend line? Sure looks like you did, but you're sitting right on it. So I don't know, man. You got a lot going on there. Today. Hold on one second. Let me just check something because it's been acting weird lately. Nope, I'm good. I'm on the right mic. So if I'm to look at that, I mean, even me showing like this, I don't think is very conducive. But I am below it again. And you are starting to see a change in the trend. But when you go trendless, which is what you're doing, this stuff becomes outright garbage. And yeah, we are. We'll get there. I'll get there. And so what we want to do, let me just drop this in this other room too, so that people can see this. So when I look at this, it's definitely of interest for me. And because like I keep going through, like, what's the catalyst, right? Like, what's the catalyst that's going to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm just going to do that today, I think, so far. Might find more. This, and let's put that in there and go there. Just give me a second here. Well, I'm thinking about this. I'm not going to take a look at this, but I think if you're looking at some of this, like, I don't know what our catalyst is going to be. Looks like everyone's like scared of China again, or Japan. China's got some real issues. They're just demolishing buildings that they just built just to demolish them, just to get out of the way. It's kind of crazy. So let's get rid of that, and we'll make this the SPY. And when we do that, it should straighten it out a little bit. And we'll turn that into a line chart. We're going to go through these sectors right now. Let's clean all that off. And what we're going to do is just go and take a look at the last day of the month and go, okay, what rocked and what rolled. You can see it was semis, XLY and TAM. So it would be, the SOX, XLY, which is kind of interesting considering the dumpster fires you had there, right? Because you had some dumpster fires on Friday. And then if you kind of go down here, you kind of see what's falling apart a little bit, right? So you have like block, and what are we losing? Steel, block, gold, pot names, really? Huh. I'm pretty sure SLX is steel. Hold on one second. Pretty sure that's the steel sector, right? Yeah, it's steel. So worst were, so you would have the MJ names, GDX, SLX. It's interesting that these got hit like that. I mean, it's shocking. It's almost like somebody knew that she was going to speak about, steel on Friday, but that couldn't be true. I mean, nobody knows what's going to happen, right? So let's go back to that. Pull that up. So what do we have here? I think you have individual names you got to start looking at more than anything. I don't know what else you would do. You can't just look at the market as a whole here because you're not going anywhere. I do think, sadly, that this does get done, but it is what it is. Let's go here and start looking at some of these other breakouts and breakdowns. The Bitcoin, the ES, you're not really seeing a whole heck of a lot here. Regional banks, they look good. People are trying to sell the 20-year. Okay. Yields are going to go higher. All right. I just don't see that. I really don't have your impetus for you guys. I mean, Tesla, it looks like they're going to try to run it back to 220. That's really where I'm at. I'm just going through these names and going like, what is really the, what's the real big impetus here that we're seeing? And, I don't have it. VNO on dips, VST, everyone's going to start realizing you need power again. CEG, I mean, they're the names that are going to go next, I think. But, do you really need to be doing anything like crazy today? Or is there anything out there that's like lighting the world on fire? I really don't feel that way. It looks like this thing got good news. PCVX. Gosh, I remember this one from years ago, like years ago. What they do, go private and then went public again? Jeez. Yeah, I mean, they got good news. People love that for whatever reason. Not really sure. I have to read all the reports, but clearly people love it. I think Dollar General and these names are in a lot of trouble. We're going to take a lot of questions today. I think that's the best way to do this today. 300 in the room. It's probably more than that. This thing's been acting goofy. There she is. Happy Tuesday. Thank you. Someone just sent me a photo of it. I forget where they put the hat. The hat somewhere. Hope you're having a good time. Getting jet lag. That's good. DRI. Yeah, I saw this too. I'm going to go through the Netflix, John. I think it's a good idea. I don't know, man. You know, I just watched this whole thing on restaurants on how like people aren't going. People go to Olive Garden. What is wrong with people? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this here. I don't really feel very good about it from like a fundamental standpoint. Technically, I think you might maybe. I mean, you're going into earnings. Last one wasn't great. You didn't act great on last one. I don't know how I do that. How come this isn't working today? This is supposed to work. It's Cuban coffee, for God's sake. I'm usually zooming off of it. What else do we have here that I think I do want to go through this, dude? This is, yeah, this is something. You're at a crossroads here, man. What I think is going to be fascinating for me, like I actually tried this. I actually made money on this day off of it. And then it just matumboed. And that scared the heck out of me. But yeah, I think you're going higher. I think you're going to break out here. I guess you're calling this the cup and handle, this little area here. I'll tell you why it's interesting, and I'll tell you how I would look at it since you threw up the idea. This is how I would look at it. I would go to this bar right here. 701.86 right there. And mark it off. Just like that. And if I flip that on that hammer at the top of the chart in there, I mean, I'll walk you through exactly how I'm going to look at that. Since you threw it up there, John. Like, that's exact how I would look at that. And you either do it or you don't. And it either works or it doesn't. But, you know, it's definitely one you got to pay attention to here. Especially if you flip that level, because you did close at a new high. And then you go look at the, like, this is like, I know this is how I know I'm a nerd. Like when you get so excited for like monthly charts, like, but you're over. I mean, you could say whatever you want. You know, you could say you want the 7-Eleven, but you're over, man. So I don't think there's much more to say about it. I like it a lot. I really do. You know, I went and looked at like Roku and what's going on there with its bad self. I'm not really, you know, a fan of Roku, but of that movement. I do think you should see more movement on some of the other names that you're not seeing, right? Like you're not really seeing the, you know, like I don't know why Disney doesn't spin that dumb thing off. I guess because you would realize how bad the rest of their business is. You know, I don't know. God, that is an ugly, ugly chart. Boeing did something again. Shocker. I like the Netflix a lot. BX. Yeah, these kinds of names that have to deal with lending, I think that they're going to wind up just keep going. Like there's some names out there that just look fantastic. You know, I don't know that this is the one I would play, but it's really hard to not like that. I've been looking at this a lot. And you look like you're there. I mean, a lot of these names are going to benefit greatly from what's going on, like a lot of them. So, like, look at ICE. I mean, some of these things that after they break out like that, they're nonstop. So, I think that's where you're heading. But I do like the Netflix a lot. What's up, Boomer? Happy Monday. MLI. I think it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday here. Are you guys ahead or behind there? I don't know. All I know is you have giant spiders down there. I've seen those videos with those kids on TikTok playing with those spiders. I don't even know what they're thinking. That's kind of interesting. These kinds of names, dude, like this is where it's at. Yeah, I was just talking about this. I do like a private video every morning, and I was just talking about this where these industrials that you're not familiar with, like that's really where you want to look. Like, you're not seeing it. I don't know. We're seeing it here, right? And you're not seeing it like, what is that? HDI. What's Harley? Hog. You're not seeing it in these names, but you know where you're saying it? You're seeing it in stuff like this, like the name that you just brought up. Like that's where you're saying it. Like we bought this thing, and I said it. I'm like, it's not sexy, but I think we're up like $15. Haven't lost a night of sleep. That's where this is all going. It's all going into the industrial space. So names like MLI, like I would be curious what they do, but go watch, just look. I mean, like what, you know what I mean? Like, do you ever lose a night of sleep? Like, not really. No. What does it do? I don't know. Just prints money. like it's crazy. So yeah, I think these kinds of names, this kind of stuff, I need to do more work on to find out what they actually do in the industrial space. But when you go through these kinds of names, Jacob, and it's like, oh, here's earnings and it went higher. All right, here's earnings and it didn't move. I'm pretty sure I hit that button. That's the wrong one. Come on, Boomer. Oh, we didn't move on earnings. Oh, we went up on earnings. Like, what'd we do? Oh, we went up on earnings. Okay, like I'm either up or flat on earnings. So like my earnings risk is diminished. You look at where you've been in the past 12 months, you're only up 100%. Every time you get near the 55, people are giddy. They can't wait to buy it. So, you start looking at names like that and it starts coming to that level of, okay, maybe I should pay attention to this. So I like that name a lot. I don't know. Let's take a look at Garmin. Yeah, same kind of thing, right? I bought this. I forget where I bought it. I think I bought it here. I just got bored. That's one of like my nemesis things. No. Was it here? I think it was here. It was either here or here. I just got bored and I just blew it out. That's like one of my biggest nemesis. Just when I buy low beta names, I'm like, oh my God, please do something. So, and then I just stare at it. That's one of the reasons people ask, like, why do you compartmentalize your accounts? That's why. So, because if I didn't, I wouldn't still be in the video. I would have been like, oh, I could sell it here for $3 and then I'll just buy it back because I'm super smart. And then I'd be out of it when it comes in and then it's up $8 the next day. So I find compartmentalization a great thing. I don't know enough here, brother, to even talk about this intelligently. I don't know how any of it works there. Are there ties with Asia? I really don't. I could just tell you by looking at a chart, I wouldn't go near it. Not until you get through here, but I just wouldn't go. I wouldn't go near it. I think the sleeper is still here. They do not like this lady at all. That's in there, like at all. But I still think it's the sleeper. You still didn't break. But if I had to pick one that I think is the sleeper, I think it's that one. But, I still think there's tons of room here, by the way, on this, like tons of room. I did a lot. I went and did a lot of reading. There I go again, learning. But I did a lot of learning this weekend on just catching up on research. I like that. I still like that one a lot. I still have all my positions in it. I think that this China coming in there is completely overblown. I don't think China can do anything right now. But the more you look at China and the problems that they have there, He's hanging on for dear life over there, I think. I don't know, dude. It's not something I'd go near. I mean, look at the data. Like, why even bother? Like, you start looking at stuff like this, it's like, why even bother? You know what I mean? Like, these things just look, there's so many others that look so much better. What's up, Albino? Yep, hit the like button. It helps greatly with the algorithm. I am going to start using Instagram and start doing like lives, like popping on live. Good morning. You might find long-term worthy. MODPOW. Let's go. Let's get some. What's up, Cap? Welcome to the community. Yeah, dude. Like these kinds of names, I'm telling you, this is the kind of stuff people are sleeping on. And I mean, because it's not sexy, but like sexy when it's paying that Visa bill, isn't it? This kind of stuff, man, like these manufacturing, these industrial companies that no one's talking about. I don't know why they're doing the way that they are, but they are. You know, they are. And I would not sleep on those kinds of names. I like these kinds of names a lot. I don't know what they're doing. I wouldn't go into that with a 10-foot pole. You got a problem there. I mean, you say it, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, right neckline. And then you've got a bearish engulfing. You've got a piercing pattern, right? And then you got a bearish engulfing. I like the other one way more. Berkshire, I think, is like the best short. I know people get like so aggravated when I say this, but like, and I know it's because of like Geico. I get it, but like, I think this is the easiest short in the world. I really do. You're basically paying 60% over the underlying assets. Like, I don't know why they get such a pass on it, but they do. Go look up the NAV. I really would never go near this thing. I mean, what happens the day he dies? Is the day that he dies that everyone just kind of goes, oh yeah, you know, we're paying 60% over. You know, I don't know. I sound so cranky about it, don't I? Maybe I'm like bitter because they went after Uncle Carl and they haven't gone after this guy. But then again, Uncle Carl may have done something he shouldn't have done. That might be true. Actually, he might have. So that might be a little bit of a difference. But like here, you know, I look at it and go, you know, what are we doing here? Like, what do I do here? I wouldn't go near it. I mean, if I wanted to buy it, why wouldn't I just buy Coke? Like, you know, whenever you go and look at these names, like you look at these underlying names and you go like here, like, and you go Coke, right? And then you go Apple, right? And then you'd go here and then you'd go, and just do it in the BRKB, right? And then go look here, right? Like that doesn't make any sense at all. It like literally makes zero sense to me. And then if you just go here, like over the longer term, like watch, right? Since he's been in it, like why in God's name, like 50% of his holdings are Apple or were. Oh, he sold some. Okay. Like why would I buy Berkshire? Why wouldn't I just put 50% of the money in Apple and then put the rest in cash or T-bills? And I'm going to get the same return. I'm going to get double the return I'm getting in Berkshire. Like it just, I know I sound so cranky about it, but it just seems to me that like people don't get it. Or maybe they're just like, whatever, boomer, we just want to own Berkshire. And that's cool if that's what you want to do, but I don't get it. I truly don't. And I know I sound cranky. If I think I sound cranky, I know I sound cranky. But I don't get it, man. I really don't. I never did. I got it back here, like back in the day. Like back here, I bought this thing. And the reason I did it back here was nobody wanted to be in value names. Nobody wanted to be in value names, right? And so, and you can see it's like up 20x from there. It was trading under book value. So like you're looking at it going, oh, you're trading under book. Like that's what makes Intel so interesting. Because Intel's basically saying, okay, look, you don't like us. We're the worst. book value is $27 and we have hard assets. And now you're like, people are going, oh, and we're going to spin them off. Now what are you going to do? Now you're going, oh, you might get back to this level. Like this was that level, right? This was like that book value kind of thing. I would be all over Berkshire, even at like a 10% premium, because I'm like, all right, well, Warren's running it. I'll give it 10%. I'm not paying 60. That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't have a clue, Dennis. You know, here's the thing about this kind of stuff when you start playing it, right? You're not just relying on what's going on out there. You're relying on what's going on in the market, right? So like for me, the bigger issue is like here. Like here's Japanese yen. I read a really cool piece by like Goldman, and they were like, stop looking at this. And I said, okay, why? They're like, look at this instead. And I'm like, huh, that's interesting. So what they're saying is, look at the Nikkei in regards to the SPY and where you're stalling versus looking at the US dollar versus the yen. I don't know that I agree with their thought process. I understand it, but the issue was the carry trade, right? And they unwound the carry trade. I'll do it real quick because for those people that don't know, so we just do it real quick. So you sell the yen, right? Okay, because you're selling the paper because their paper's worth less because of the yield, right? You buy the dollar, right? Dollar stronger, and then you buy assets that are in the dollar, right? Which is what you're doing. And then, oh boy, got goofy. Oh geez. And then, so then what you're doing from there, let's clean these off. Let's remove that one. And then what you're doing is when they raise rates, that spread goes away, and then you have to unwind and sell these. And then when that happens, this gets weaker. So that's what happened, right? And you can actually see it actually happened on July 11th, which is when CPI month over month came in negative for the first time since the pandemic. I mean, it's not a coincidence that that's when this happened. So the question then becomes, you know, how much more effect? Well, that whole thing's unwound. Like I think it's like 80 or 90% unwound. So then what's the issue? And Goldman's point was this. They were like, what you should be watching is this, watching the performance. And so the Nikkei has been crushing us. And now all of a sudden we're starting to go sideways and we're getting to this kind of core level up here, aren't we? Right. And now the question becomes, you know, what happens? And I don't have an answer to that, but that was kind of their point, to watch this instead of the US dollar trade. And I'm not sure that I buy that argument, but I think it's an interesting argument. What's up, Bob? You in Houston? I usually get good morning from Houston. I didn't get that. I got just good morning. Makes me wonder, where's Bob? It's like, where's Waldo? What's up, Steve? Yeah, someone put them in the room yesterday, and I just popped them on. I usually don't play those kinds of things, but I'm watching them. They're just rocking. I guess it's good news. So I'd have to get to it and go through it all. But they look like they're going to rock and roll today. Yeah. So I would definitely say a firm looks great. I really don't want to buy another Latin America bank. I own like so many Latin American banks right now. But if I did, it would be this one. That's kind of how I look at it. Yeah, 100%, dude. Like, there's no way to not own this thing, Jay. It's a beast. Like, it's just an absolute beast. If I was going to own another one, it'd be this one. But, you know, I own this one. You know, I own a bunch of them. I own this one. I've owned them for a while now. This one, we actually have a double in. I've done nothing with them. They're just getting started. That whole thing's just getting started. You have to realize they all tie themselves to the dollar. So did NU. Like, they've all tied themselves to the dollar, right? So something to be said about that. I could walk you through the whole reason why it's going to work, but I do like those names a lot here. OSCR, a firm's going to be a beast. A firm's going to be one of those names that people don't understand why it's going the way it's going. I don't know enough about this. If it's one of those little healthcare names, I would definitely pay attention to it. Sure. And we'll go from there. We're going to start these as close to 8 as I possibly can, guys, and wrap up as close to 9 or if not sooner. Just FYI, but let's just see where we're at here. A firm, there's literally nothing to do. I just think it's going to be an absolute monster trade. Yeah, DraftKings, I've been watching this, and this is what we're getting. We're not getting much there. So I'm not really feeling that at all, to be honest with you. I'm not feeling that at all. I'm not sure about those casino names because I don't know if people have the disposable income. But yeah, you got some issues today, dude. What's up, AW? What's going on, Ocean? You got some issues there, dude. They did something else with a rocket, didn't work again. So I think you're going back to this 162 to 17. I think it's very telling that oil's dropping. I have my reasons why I think oil's dropping. So I have my beliefs about that, but I'll keep them to myself for now because I'm definitely getting into it. But they're going to flood the market before. I think they're flooding the market before the elections. That's my thought, is what you're saying. Because they know, that's my thought on it, but I could be wrong. What do I know? But not much to say. I think they're flooding the market with oil right now, personally. I do, Eric. I think they're flooding it on purpose. Anything can happen. I mean, look, this is historically like the worst time in the market, right? September to November, while you wait for the election. But I think I'm not going to get into it. September is usually the worst time. September and October are usually the worst time in an election cycle. I do think gold's going higher. We're not doing that. What's up, James? Yeah, but you can't keep inflating an economy like that. Like, you can't keep building something, knocking it down, and then getting the builders to build it again. Like, that's not how an economy works. Like, you can't build 15 buildings and then knock them down and then build them again. And then what you're going to do, knock them down again because you have to employ people? Like, it's insanity. PM, it does look like a monster. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not a China fan at all, dude. I'm not even remotely. They actually have to have an economy, and they don't. It is like I went another way with them. That was a pretty clean break right there. I've been doing MO. It's been just a monster. BTI. These things are just going to be monsters. They're just going to keep doing what they're doing every single day. There's nothing to do with them. Like, literally nothing to do. It's like they're such easy trades. You just sit with them. I know I'm going to have another Lily. Oh, I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what she does? It either works or it doesn't work. Either way, whoever gets in November 7th doesn't really matter. I'm going to be trading November 8th. There's not really much to say. They're going to cut costs. They're trying to get ahead of the generics. I don't know. I mean, it's frustrating. I owned it here, and I just couldn't stay in it before earnings because I didn't have any cushion. And then even that day on earnings, it dropped, which was crazy. And then it reversed when everyone was like, oh, what did we do? We sold the wrong name. I don't know, man. I wouldn't play with it. I think it's pretty clear what's going on, that these are the names. And, you even look at like Novo or NBO. I mean, it's just a matter of time before this is back up another 10 points. It's like a no-brainer. These things aren't going away. Like, they're just not going away, like, at all. They're just going to keep doing what they're doing. They just are. Like, that's not going away. It's just going to keep grinding. So I don't know. People keep saying this VKTX is next. Maybe. I mean, you definitely found the level of interest. That's for sure. Right? You definitely know where your interest is. So, JP Morgan looks like a beast. AVGO usually marks the top attack. If you go look at AVGO's earnings, they usually mark the top attack. I'll tell you what I really like about AVGO this quarter. You're down. You're not up before earnings. You're usually up before earnings. You're not up before earnings. And if you start looking at what happened with some of the cloud names like Dell breaking out, Dell had a good quarter, no matter how you look at it. Let's go through this. I'm going to go jump to the end real quick because I'm going to wrap this up. I think we look decent. I would look at some of those other names. I look at the KRE names. I got jump, guys. I got to hop in the room. I'm going to have to start hopping in a little bit earlier to get set up. Trade to win today. If you need anything, reach out.